All right, scallywags. Because because I'm not like a big content creator, obviously. I have barely any fucking viewers at this point. I just do it for the fun and the sport of it. But because small time, I have time to respond to messages. And I really enjoy doing that. I gotta be honest. Like I it's very interesting how people respond to my content. And I guess that could go for any creator, right? Like I can't even imagine what like the big time creators have to deal with, on a daily basis. But what I do want to show you here, I want to respond to this because I'll explain to you exactly why I'm going to respond to this specifically because someone called me out and my pride was touched. No, it's not that serious. All right, so someone sent me a message and I don't even fucking remember what message they are referring to, but shiver me timbers, here we go. Are you ready? Because I am. This is shiver me timbers. Since you are too scared to let me respond in your post. I think I know what they're referring to. I guess there's a fold um, option in TikTok, and for some reason, people think content creators choose that by default, which I've already well, they choose that, but it's there by default. I've already asked people like, how do you take that shit off? No one has answered me, and I know I could do a quick tutorial on how to do it. But the comments get folded, and I can't control that. I always unfold the comments. When I see it like that, I'm like, fuck, someone's trying to get their point across, and I believe in freedom of expression and freedom of speech. I mean, you say it however you want. But since you are too scared to let me respond in your post, I'll just message you. I have no reason to believe that a 34 count felon and kid diddler and and Kid Diddler protector as president, and I have no reason to believe that he would break the law again. Okay, that was confusing. To stay out of jail. Oh, he has no reason to believe, or she or he or it, whatever it wants to call itself. They have no reason to believe that they wouldn't break the law to stay out of jail again. Trump himself said that he wouldn't have one PA without Elon. Elon himself said that if Trump doesn't win, both him and Trump are going to jail. Congratulations, you support a criminal who has so many ties to Jeffrey Epstein. It is undeniable that he was involved. Now he is 32 days past the legally requirement required release date of hundreds of thousands of Epstein files that have gone unreleased. Well, that's not true. You can actually go to the website here. I'll show you really quick. Um, the Epstein files. You can go right here to the Department of Justice, DOJ disclosures. I started one day. I think I fell into the rabbit hole for like a couple of hours or several hours, however you want to say it. And I found some pretty damning evidence. I'm just not, at that time, I wasn't like, and I'm not talking about evidence against anyone, just like there's so many files in there. Like, what exactly are you looking for? Are you looking for Trump specifically? Because it's not in there, according to experts that have, and I'm not experts, I'm sorry, just people that really thrive off of this shit. If they would have found it, it would have been released already. But there's tons of information in here, bro. We're talking thousands of fucking files that are in here. So do yourself the favor, go into these disclosures, and regardless if it's redacted, right? Show me evidence of what you're talking about. Show me all these ties that he has, because some of the things that I see is like Bill Clinton, and I know that's like cliche and obvious, like, oh yeah, yeah, no, it's in there though. Bill Gates, there's so many different pictures, interviews. um what do you call I can't find the word off the top of my head, but depositions, excuse me. There's so much information in there, and yet no one is going in there to expose information because they're not finding the information that they want to see. Well, I'm sorry. If the information isn't there, it's not there. What do you want? You want someone to make information up? Um, or what you want up. So it's all there. You could go there right now and happy hunting. It's a lot. It's a lot of paperwork, okay? So your bullshit that you're talking right there just doesn't make any sense because there have been files that have been released, yet you won't go and read them yourself because you're most likely depending on your news media network to find it. Some kind of bullshit to just put a headline like files found, and then you're going to read like a paragraph of it and never go any deeper. Just start chanting and yelling that he's a kid diddler. I would like proof of what you're saying because I'm not a fan of accusing people for things. I've been accused for many things in my life that weren't true. And you have to prove things, right? That's just how life works. You don't go by a hunch or your gut feeling. You have to prove what you're saying. And so far, you already started off in a bad foot because you're just spewing, regurgitating like an echo chamber of information and things that I've already heard, but no one wants to show evidence. Just show the evidence. That's it. I'll denounce Trump right now. Um, As far as like Trump himself said that he wouldn't have won PA without Elon, that's most likely true. That's how you win, right? You strategize, you get the right people around you, and that's how you win stuff. How else would you win? It's like when MGK and Eminem were battling each other, and MGK was like, "I got all of my hits without Dre producing me." Somebody had to do it. Somebody had to produce him. Someone had to back Trump up to put him back in office. So I'm just not understanding that whole. You have to you win so, one way or another, whether it's with one support system or the other. Someone has to win, and Trump did, and that's the reason why he won. Well, Pennsylvania, according to you, it kind of seems like you are conclusive on your evidence. I just want to see it. You have a lot to say here. You had a lot to unpack there without unpacking anything. So anyway, I just responded, I'll respond to you in the post. Just let me know which one. I want to know which post because I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. I have tons of posts and comments. I wasn't aware I had to cater directly to you, yada yada. And then I said, in fact, I will make a video like I'm doing right now. Not the entire video for you. I want to go over some things with JD Vance that we're about to get into. But yeah, I'll make you feel special, and here you are. Way to not even acknowledge how Trump is protecting kids. I haven't even gotten there yet. I just said I'll respond to you. Just let me know which post. That's it. But these people are unhinged. The left, like they have no logic, no common sense, no natural intelligence from what I'm seeing. It's just like I said, I will respond to the post right here. So to respond to what you're saying of Trump protecting kid diddlers, show me the evidence that he's doing that so you can convince people like myself so I can further spread the message. I want to know if Trump is a kid diddler or he's protecting kid diddlers, please show me the evidence that that is happening so I can get the message out there. But it just seems like you're just reading headlines and that's just how the world is right now. And then you're saying missing the required release date by over a month now. There's files there. Find it. You could probably find a smoking gun right now. You can find the evidence. It's right here, the Department of Justice. Go in here and find something for us so I can further. I'm not going to look at it right now, um, because I don't believe it's true. And that's not to say that I would ever ignore the evidence. Eventually, I'm gonna look into all these files if I ever get the chance to, but it's a lot of fucking paperwork. And if it's that easy, why don't you go in there and show me and point it out? It's very simple. Uh, Kid Diller still support his felon in chief now, whatever. All right. And like I said, just show me the evidence. And there's your answer. I mean, what else do you want me to say? If a crowd of people comes up to me and says, he's bad, he's wrong, he's whatever, it's like, okay, what did he do? He's bad, he's wrong, he's whatever. What did he do? He's a child toucher or whatever the fuck. Okay, how do you know that? Well, where are you getting this information from? I need evidence and proof. It's very simple. It's very simple. If you want the court of public opinion to side with you, provide something for us to side with you with. Otherwise, you just throwing tantrums like a fucking toddler, like a lot of people that I see. You're just fucking throwing tantrums. That's all you're doing. Let's listen to JD Vance. Shiver me dipshit. Whenever you have the information, please bring it my way. I'll be waiting.
Do not have this level of chaos. The reason why things have gotten so out of hand is because of failure of cooperation between the state and local authorities and what these guys are trying to do. We have a ton of resources, a ton of ICE agents in this city right now that I would rather us not have. I'd love to send those guys home. They're not even doing targeted immigration enforcement. They are trying to protect ICE officers who are doing immigration enforcement, because when a crowd surrounds them and these guys call 911, the local officials, the local cops have been told to stand down. So we have people here who aren't even doing immigration.
Imagine that. You have a crowd of people telling them to stand down. And to just go back a little bit, I'm sorry, Mr. Shiver Me Timbers. Um, the You were discussing, my apologies. You mentioned something about 34 count felon. Name those felonies that he did. I want you to pull out the sheet of all the felon the whatever he was accused of, right? And we're gonna compare that to someone else that I'll let you know later on.
Immigration enforcement, they're doing force protection so that if a rioter tries to ruin the life or assault an ICE officer, they're actually protected. Now, why doesn't it make more sense for the local cops to get involved in that situation? Why not just have the mayor or the local officials tell the police officers, you know what, if an ICE officer is being assaulted by a far-left agitator, you are invited, you should actually help them. That's what would work out in any normal situation, and that's what happens in nearly every jurisdiction, red or blue, in the United States of America. The reason it hasn't happened here is because the local authorities have been told, stand down, do not help ICE, promote the violence, promote the agitation, but don't do anything to lower the temperature and lower the chaos.
Yeah, that's a huge problem. Nick Fuentes was complaining today or the other day or whatever, and I like Nick Fuentes a lot. I think he's a little rambunctious because of his age. He's still young. He knows what he's talking about, but he's still young, and because of that, he is rambunctious. And I feel like he spitfires, and he's very angry. He has every right to be. We all do. If you're going to be speaking common sense and logic, we all have the right to be angry with what's going on in this country right now. But what I totally disagree with Nick Fuentes is, and I could be wrong, he may can educate me in some things, but he didn't really give a lot of substance in his rant that he was given. And I'll get to the point in a second. He was mentioning that Trump made promises, but he's not delivering because he wants to see more illegal immigrants deported. Well, the problem with that is that you have American citizens that are outnumbering these agents, slowing them down and stopping them from doing their job. So that argument falls apart right there because you're telling me with what JD Vance just said, excuse me, what JD Vance just said should answer your question. Law enforcement is stepping down. So in a situation like Renee Good, Renee Nicole Good, ICE agents had to play the part of local law enforcement because local law enforcement refuses to do their job. So they had to get involved in order to get her out of the way and just stop the fucking nuisance. If law enforcement was there and allowing ICE to do their job while law enforcement is controlling traffic and stopping her from impeding, that situation would have never happened. So for everyone to keep blaming federal agents for being quote brutal and kidnapping 5-year-olds or whatever the fucking case is, it's absolute bullshit. And if you are of sound mind and you're coming to the conclusion that ICE agents are not either doing enough or they're doing too much, you're just not in tune with reality. You're not being honest with yourself, or you're deliberately lying to the people to agitate the situation further because you're not getting your way. Tim Walz right now, he would want nothing more for the whole city to burn down to get rid of whatever evidence that he's hiding. I'm gonna tell you right now. And it's not easy to get rid of evidence nowadays because we're in a digital age. So that's very important to point out. Nick Fuentes, I know you have the best intentions. People badmouth you, and I just see it as someone that's being honest. And even when I do disagree, I'm not gonna hate you and say that you're this and that. I just totally disagree with your assessment. Allow ICE agents to do their job. Can you imagine if, according to fucking Gavin Newsom over there in California, can you imagine if officers in the state would just say, hey, we have these illegals right here, come get them, we'll help you out, we'll hold the crowd back, we'll get the crowd. That's not happening. These ICE agents are combating American citizens, which they're American citizens themselves. They're combating these protesters more than they can do their job, and it's fucking bullshit, dude. That's the hardest job right now, man. It's not right.
Problem. Here's another example of how the lack of cooperation between state and local officials makes it harder for us to do our job and turns up the temperature. Let's say, for example, we have a criminal migrant who is a sex offender. And let's say that we've got to go and arrest that person who, Democrat or Republican, wants a sex offender living in their community. I would assume, I would hope that most people don't. But because they're an illegal alien, we don't know their last address. We may have known their address 3 years ago, but we don't know their address now. What we'd like to do is talk to local officials and say, you know what, according to the Medicaid rolls, where was the last address this person was domiciled? Or according to a SNAP application, a food stamps application, maybe that could give us insight to where this person is today. Or maybe they had some local court trouble. We could go to the local courthouse or even the local jail and try to find where this criminal sex offender is today. The local authorities have been told, do not cooperate. So these guys are trying to go out and enforce the law. They're trying to arrest sex offenders, but they're trying to do it in an environment where local officials have been told, do not help them, do not provide intelligence about where these sex offenders might be. This is disgraceful. And there are a lot of things that all of us could do better to lower the temperature, but the number one thing that I learned today is that the best way to facilitate reasonable enforcement of the law, but also to lower the chaos in Minneapolis, would be for state and local officials to cooperate. Now, I will say,
absolutely,
on one final positive note, I actually think that there's some hope, some reason to think that there's going to be better cooperation in the weeks and months to come.
I agree.
I think that because I've talked to some of the local officials here, I think there are reasons to believe that these people are going to step up and actually ask the cops to protect our ICE officers when they're being assaulted, who are going to ask the local courts to cooperate with getting criminal sex offenders out of our community. That's a good thing. That's the good news, and that's something I'm going to work on when I get back to Washington. But please, if you're a local official, if you're the mayor of this town, if you have any influence over those people, just tell them to cooperate. because we could have immigration enforcement operate as smoothly and without the chaos that we see in Austin, Texas, or Memphis, Tennessee, or even rural parts of the state of Minnesota. All we need is a little cooperation. I guarantee you, we're going to do the best to be professional, to respect people's rights, to not do anything that we don't have to do in order to enforce immigration laws, but it would make our lives a lot easier, it would make our officers a lot safer, and it would make Minneapolis much less chaotic if we had a little bit of cooperation from the state and local officials. With that, I'll shut up and take some questions. Thank you, guys.
So that's so important, bro. We all have to work together as Americans. It's very unfortunate that there's a lot of people that are in this country legally, and the harm of that, which some don't understand, is that, yo, they are sucking the fucking resources. And I'm not going to expect billionaires to fucking supplement that bullshit. All right, that's not right. We cannot go to billionaires and entrepreneurs and millionaires and say, hey, you guys have to step up and pay more taxes for the sake of illegal immigrants, for the sake of the people that are supporting that situation, like congressmen and senators, so they can stay in office. Because that's all it comes down to is power. Every single fucking country out there, you can't just go anywhere. And it seems like here, I'm not cool with that shit, man. I'm not cool with it. Yo, billionaires and millionaires become that way. You know, I know it's a long discussion, and a lot of it is it's fucked up sometimes in how they get to their position. But at the same time, it's even worse when you're taking the money from us. So if there's a problem that you see that this elite class needs to pay more or whatever, then make them do it. Don't make us pay for it first and say, well, the billionaires should have paid. No, lock the shit down and then figure some other shit out. The way y'all going about this is just absolutely unacceptable. I'm fucking over it. The older I get, the more over it I become. Because what happens is when you're in your younger 20s, if you're not paying attention, or in your 20s in general, you're just too busy having fun and you're missing the plot. And then 10 years pass and you're 30 and it's just like, oh shit, it's either you're married, you have kids, or life starts changing. And then now I'm 41 and it's just like, what the fuck happened? What happened? Well, what did you guys think? What did you think was gonna happen? Now we in this situation and we have to get it right. And for these leaders right now, they're doing the right thing. The previous leaders, they just wanted to have sympathy and feel sorry. Yo, we have to be emotionless for a while for us to fucking combat this bullshit that's going on. Because you're yelling and screaming at us. You're yelling and screaming at these officers from doing their job, and it's fucking bullshit.
A local school district here is alleging ICE agents detained a 5-year-old after preschool on Tuesday. We've also seen multiple American citizens detained by ICE or harassed by ICE in the last 6 weeks.
What's the fucking with ICE?
How your administration is conducting this immigration crackdown here in Minnesota?
Well, I'm proud of the fact that we're standing behind law enforcement, and I'm proud of the fact that we're enforcing the country's laws. But, you asked a question about this 5-year-old kid. I actually saw this terrible story while I was coming to Minneapolis. We had just left Toledo, Ohio this morning for an economic messaging event. And I see this story, and I'm a father of a 5-year-old, actually, a 5-year-old little boy. And I think to myself, oh, my God, this is terrible. How did we arrest a 5-year-old? Well, I do a little bit more follow-up research. And what I find is that the 5-year-old was not arrested, that his dad was an illegal alien, and then when they went to arrest his illegal alien father, the father ran. So the story is that ICE detained a 5-year-old. Well, what are they supposed to do? Are they supposed to let a 5-year-old child freeze to death? Are they not supposed to arrest an illegal alien in the United States of America if the argument is that you can't arrest people who have violated our laws because they have children, then every single parent is going to be completely given immunity from ever being the subject of law enforcement. That doesn't make any sense. No one thinks that makes any sense. Now, there are so many of these cases like that where if you just understand the context, there have been a number of situations that I've looked into personally where I say, wait a second. We don't want ICE arresting American citizens. They're supposed to be enforcing the immigration laws against illegal aliens. So then I look into it and I find out that the American citizen who was arrested took a swing at an ICE officer. You can't have that happen. And of course they have to defend themselves. And of course they have the right to detain somebody who
That's right.
assaults a law enforcement officer. Now, this is my point. Do we want these things to happen? Do we want these arrests to be so chaotic? No, we don't. These guys want it least of all, but if we had a little cooperation from local and from local and state officials, I think the chaos would go way down in this community.
And I'm gonna leave it right there because I think people misunderstand. Yo, these law enforcement officers, there may be some that get a thrill out of it, but the majority get a thrill out of it from catching bad guys. That's why people, that's why these fucking, like maybe before it was a power trip, but I'm gonna tell you, the majority of the people on the force, they want to catch bad guys. I wish I would have been a police officer. It would have been my pleasure to fucking punish bad guys. I've punished people in the nightclubs that put their hands on women and just did inappropriate shit that just shouldn't have happened. It was my pleasure to fucking put my hands on them to escort them out, or if they got too aggressive, because sometimes it becomes a thrill. When you're a bouncer in a nightclub, it is a thrill because it's like, this is like the 20s mentality kicking in, the war, like, yeah, battle, you're trying to impress people. And it's just like, okay, you don't want to take it too far for sure. Absolutely not. You don't want to just kick someone and bounce them out the club for dropping a drink. But if I saw someone put their hands on a woman, my lord, dude, it was my pleasure to escort them out accordingly. Someone, I've been clocked right in my fucking face, bro. Like so many times, right in my fucking face. I'm like, oh yeah? It was like fucking sport. But then you grow up and you realize, okay, like there could have been better ways I could have handled that, but putting your hands on someone that's vulnerable, it's like, how do you control these things? And when you have ICE officers like getting spit on, kicked on, objects thrown into their vehicle, what the fuck? Like, do you think they want to aggressively go after people that are just spitting on them? Yeah, anyone would get angry for that. My point to that was, do you think they go out, wake up in the morning, they're like, man, I can't wait till I get spit on so I could punish someone and throw them in jail? No. Their energy, you're taking their energy away from catching people that are not great people that we want in our country. And if they so happen to be illegal during the process, yes, they're going to get rounded up too. This is why they're offering anyone that's here illegally to leave the country. We'll give you money. You won't have to go through the process of getting handcuffed or whatever the case is, and you'll have a chance to come back. What's so hard for that? Like I don't understand. Um well, nothing is easy in life. Nothing is a cakewalk. But let's leave it at this. What JD Vance said is very important. Are we just gonna not arrest people for the sake of not separating them from from their children? Okay. I got a ton of stories because I've been through a lot of fucking shit. I've been through so much in my life, dude. I'm exhausted. In my halftime period, although I'm 41, bro, I'm past halftime. I ain't making it to 80. I'm gonna tell you right now. My body, like, dude, I've been through too much stress, chronic stress. If I make it past 80, I'll be happy or shocked. But a couple of years ago, I was trying to fast. I was drinking and smoking, and I hit my limit. I hit my limit of dehydration where I just collapsed. And I told my daughter, I'm like, yo, dude, call 911 because I was trying to fast to lose weight, but I took it a little too far. Okay, fasting can be very dangerous when you're, having some booze and, smoking marijuana, and it's all responsible. I mean, it is what it is. Like, if I get um, a certificate to smoke, I'm gonna smoke, but sometimes, you can't take it too far, and I took it a little too far. So I collapsed. I was fucking dehydrated. And, I was honest with the social workers after the fact. I told them straight up what happened. I said, look, I had a little puff puff and a little drink and lights out. So when the officers they had to come in and break my door down because I guess the latch was stuck. So the ambulance and everybody came. They broke my door down. I'll get the video footage for you guys. I'm sure there's the body camera and all that, which I am interested in getting because it's an educational thing for everyone to know, like, yo, things could change within seconds, right? And I'll have that information for you guys soon. So that'll be an interesting video. So I guess the cops came in, or the police officers and the ambulance and firefighters or whatever. When they came in, they automatically assumed, and I'm gonna say because I'm Hispanic, I'm a person of color, and I probably looked a certain way, so they automatically assumed that I OD'd off of fentanyl or whatever drugs. I don't do drugs, bro. I smoke marijuana. Okay. I've done like shrooms in the past, but it didn't really have an effect on me. I didn't enjoy it as much as I wanted to. All right. From what people tell me, like, oh, mushrooms, it's like it didn't have any effect on me. It's fucking weird. Maybe I had some bullshit. So anyway, they hit me with Narcan. I do remember that. Like I remember them setting me up and they hit me with Narcan and I woke up and I'm just like, whoa, what the fuck? And I'll get the video footage so everyone could, corroborate my story because I never want to sound like I'm full of shit. Um, so they were, taking me into the ambulance when I went back to the hospital. The officer, this is really important to understand. So the officer, he was telling me that I did take drugs and there was fentanyl laced in it, and I did have fentanyl. And I'm like, bro, I don't do drugs. I said, you can go to my house right fucking now. You have my full permission. Strip the shit upside down. Tell me if you find fentanyl in there. But what's the point here? Social services had to get in because the officer fucking Doofy, all right, told them his analysis, which, look, it's fair. I get it. He wanted to keep my daughter safe, but he didn't really sound that way. He was definitely fucking making accusations. When I told him like 10 times, go to my house right now. You have my full permission. I don't have my phone, right? Guys have my phone. You have my Apple Watch. You can go to my house right now. There's no one I can contact to come clear the shit out. And I think he thought I was calling his bluff, but I said, no, I'm giving you permission. Go right now. Find fucking drugs in my house. I dare you. And they didn't do it. But they still took my daughter away. For a couple of days, I could not get my daughter without full screening, interviews, and thank God for my daughter's grandparents because they weren't going to release her to me without proper verification. They were like, I love you to death, Vic, but we have to just, I just want to make sure. And they did the right thing. I didn't get mad and throw temper tantrums. The state even wrote me a letter saying that they are liable and I have 2 years to file any kind of suit or complaint that I wanted to. And I decided not to because they did the right thing. Although they rushed to judgment with this world the way it is right now, I would rather say, you know what? I'm glad you're doing that because you may save some child in the future. And not only that, it was irresponsible of me to try to fast and think I can drink alcohol and smoke, bro. Dehydration was just like a damn fucking right. That was the dumbest thing I've ever done, but I didn't really know. Like that was a truly innocent moment where mistakes are made. And the social services within 2 days, it took 48 hours. They were like, okay, he's clear, it's good because they got the blood work back. And again, there was no drugs in my system. There was just marijuana and a little bit of alcohol. It wasn't that much, and it doesn't take much when you're dehydrated, brother. You will fall. I'm gonna tell you right now. And I'm talking about full dehydration, no food, no nothing. And because of that, I'm like just terrified to fast, even for 8 hours or 10 hours. It becomes scary sometimes when I don't eat. I'm just like, damn, like I feel like pain, I feel anxiety, and I don't like feeling that way. But to JD Vance's point, it's like, yeah, these things do happen, and we cannot not take the proper procedures by separating the child and the parent because you never know. You don't. This world is wild, bro. We're living in a crazy world, and I think that the state did the right thing. I don't like the way the officer was grilling me when we see the body camera footage, we're gonna see all of that. The way he was grilling me was just like, dude, I'm like pleading with you. I'm telling you, like, yo, I don't do fucking drugs, bro. I don't fuck with that shit. Never liked it. No, thank you. And when I say never liked it, I mean like I seen people do drugs and I'm like, I never want to do that. Straight up. And as far as the experimenting with I think I did Molly one time and I didn't even realize it was Molly. It was just somebody spinning some shit in a cup. They're like, man, try this and you'll fuck all night for hours. And I'm just like, all right. It was a disaster. It was so funny what happened after that. That's a story for another day. But that was one time, nothing that OD'd. It was just like a fun night for me. And I'd never recommend anyone to do anything like that, especially right now, especially in today's world. Um, but we can do better as people and as adults. These people that are protesting, that are obstructing justice and obstructing ICE and all that. Um, I pray that you guys change your minds one day because we do need to clean the country. It's time to clean house. And if you disagree with that, I'm sorry, but it's gonna happen one way or another because if you don't, it's just time to heal this country. We've been through a lot. We've been through a lot, and um, it's funny because JD Vance and there were so many press conferences that day. That was my birthday. That was pretty cool. That's when I turned 21, and I'm proud to be an American. I'm proud to be alive, a man of God, most of all, and first of all. And uh, we got to keep fighting a good fight. We are in a bloodless civil war right now, and I'm a part of the battle. I would love to be on the front line in cases like Nick Shirley, but I do have a daughter. It's a little different when you're a parent. But as soon as she gets older and I'm able to go out there and help get this information out there, I will do what I have to do. Um, until then, everybody be safe. We got a big storm coming in. I'm always gonna post every day. This is my venting tool. I love you guys and good night. Good night.